Hey there, welcome to the channel. So today I want to take a look at some estimates for Tesla new vehicle orders. So this guy Troy Tesla has this chart, and it's interesting. This guy seems to be doing some really good work on trying to track deliveries and also orders for Teslas. So he put up this chart on Twitter. And it's very interesting because if you look at this chart, you can see that he's got it on the vertical, on the horizontal here, days of the quarter. So basically, by the current days of the quarter, if we look right over here, and so I'm going to annotate this guy here. So if we look, here we are. This is where we are in the quarter. So this is right over here, the red line. This is the current quarter. So at this point, they have not even have 500 total orders. Okay, so that's really interesting because you look at all the other quarters that he has here. You have like a really big quarter in 2021. Q2, you had 1,500. So you had really big orders. But over here, you have, you're always at least at about orders of over 500. And we're really very, very short here. So it just seems like, hey, the Tesla sales, if this guy is right, I'm sorry, not sales, the Tesla orders have dropped off a cliff this quarter. That's what we see. So let's look a little further. So if we look a little further, he looks into it a little more. And you can see that he basically kind of tracks into it. And it kind of looks like what he's talking about. It looks like basically the wait delivery times are too long. And so that's one of the things the guy is talking about. He's like, hey, look, these delivery times have spiked in this quarter. And you can see that from his chart here. And maybe that's the reason why that the orders have dropped off. And I guess the idea would be like, hey, do you want to order a car that's going to take you like nearly a year to get that car? Probably not. But the question I think that I have is, well, is that the only reason? So if you look at it, it's like a big pipeline, right? So you have to get the orders and then you have to fulfill the orders. And at the end of the day, you have to have all your ducks in a row. So even though the deliveries for the current quarter may not be affected at all by this, at some point, if you don't have orders to keep that backlog growing, you're going to have some kind of issue. You're going to have a drop off in deliveries because you have a drop off in orders at some point. Now, it's kind of interesting. If we go over here, let's take a look, go to the Tesla website. So the ones he was looking at was Model 3 and Model Y. If we go to Model 3 and we say, hey, want to order it now, let's kind of see. So here we are on June 7th, and we can see that estimated delivery. So June, so for the lowest cost model, June be July, August, September. So you got 3-4 months delivery time for that lowest cost model. But then you go up to a dual motor, and here we are, June, July, August, September. So you got like 4 months for that long range. And then on the performance one, interesting, estimated delivery is June. So for the Model 3 performance of this particular car, there's actually very little wait, right? Because I'm on June 7th, right? And so on June 7th, I can order the car. They're telling me I'm going to get it June and August. So that's kind of interesting, right? So yes, it depends on the model. Now, I guess that's going to be the question. Do people always buy the higher, more expensive cars? And so hence the actual delivery time is that amount of time, or is it just something else going on? Now we'll look at the Model Y. We have two versions. So the Model Y, December 2022. Okay, that's a pretty long lead time because we're in June, so call it 6 months. That's a pretty long lead time. Now let's look at the performance model, which is more expensive at almost $60,000. If you look at that, hey, I'm in June, and they're telling me I can get it between August, September, October. So I may be able to get it a month from now. So if I go back and I look at it, I have a couple things going on here. If I look at this chart, there's one element I would take and just look at this chart and just take it on face value. Look, the orders have dropped off. Why they dropped off, who knows? But my take is that they really are seeing orders drop off. It's more than just the delay and the wait time, because if you look at those, the delay time isn't really moved from what it typically is. Now, I get it that he's tracking all this other stuff, the actual delivery time, and maybe they're having issues, whatever, delivery time, and it's spiked up. But they're not telling you on the website, they're not telling you that, oh, it's going to take that long. It was only one of the car models that was going to take you into next year. Otherwise, it was like on average 3 months, which seems kind of typical. So then the question is, well, if it's not the delivery, if it's not the estimated delivery time that's preventing people from actually buying the car, then what's preventing them from buying the car? Well, my guess is that this is, and now pair it together with Elon Musk's statements. He made these statements about how he needs to cut staff. He's got to get people back into the office. And he's got a funny or bad feeling about the economy. Well, why would he have that? Because you know what? He knows he has these numbers. He has these numbers. And then therefore, and thusly, I would expect that he's seeing something as well. And therefore, that would be my assumption. So taking it on face value, car sales may very well be dropping off a cliff as we speak. Now, another website that I looked at was this guy, goodcarbadcar.net. Now, this guy is pulling it from the BEA data. Now, honestly, I looked at it. I couldn't quite figure this out, to be brutally honest with you. But one of the things I noticed, because I couldn't get his overall numbers to match. So I think what he's doing is he's summing, because he's saying shows U.S. automotive sales broken out by month on a unit basis, new vehicle sales in U.S., including passenger, commercial vans, and light trucks. So it's a whole wide range of vehicles. But one of the things that you notice, let's just take it on face value. Okay, we're just going to take it on face value and look at this chart. So this table. Okay. And if we look at this thing, what's interesting, so you can see that on a monthly basis, like in 2001, right, you had 1.1 million, 1.2, 1.5, 1.5 million cars, et cetera, over a million cars every month. But look what happened here. Suddenly in April, we've dropped off a cliff to 643,000. Then we've dropped off a cliff in May to 586,000. So we are just going off a cliff right now. Now, it's interesting. If you compare it to back what was happening in Cerveza in 2020, I mean, it seems maybe kind of similar. Back here in March, things went to heck in a handbasket, and you see they dropped from 1.4 million to 944K, then 563, and then jumped right back up to 1.1. So you had this really fast dip. So, but right now, looking at it, we see a 2-month dip in car sales here, in new car sales. Now, going back, looking at this chart, I don't see anything like that until you're back into what? Until you're back into 08, 010 period of time, where you see that you have this drop off in the sales. Like for example, all of 2009, you were very low, except for some months in there. So what was this? This was the aftermath of the financial crisis. So I think this is very telling data. I think that we're seeing what we're literally seeing before our eyes is we're seeing the economy go deep into recession, and the car sales, I'm suspecting, are just dropping off a cliff. At least these data points. Now, there's other data points out there. We have to look and see what other kind of car sales data comes out. But my conclusion is that, hey, this doesn't look good. Probably already in recession. All right, that's it for this one.